Dear students, now we are going to learn about elementary properties of abelian groups. In last two modules, we discussed some basic properties of groups. In this module, we are going to discuss about some elementary properties of abelian groups. The term abelian group comes from Niels Henrik Abel, a mathematician who worked with the groups even before the formal theory was laid down. In order to prove insolvability of this quintic, let us recall the definition of abelian group. An abelian group is a group of two elements commute. In symbols, a group G star is termed abelian if for any elements x and y in G, x into y is equivalent to y into x. Formally, an abelian group is a non-empty set together with the operation multiplication which satisfies closure, associativity, identity, inverse and commutative properties. Again, we shall recall some of the examples with a new fact. First one, as we discussed in first module, the additive group of integers Z, the additive group of rational numbers Q, the additive group of real numbers R, the multiplicative group of non-zero rationals Q or non-zero real numbers R are some examples of infinite abelian groups. The multiplicative group of cube roots of unity, that is 1 omega omega square, and the set of all integers modulo Zn are some examples of finite abelian groups. Let C be the set of non-zero complex numbers. Under the operation of multiplication, C star forms a group. The identity is 1. If Z is equivalent to A plus B is a non-zero complex number, then Z to the power minus 1 is equivalent to A minus Bi divided by A square plus B square is the inverse of Z. It is easy to see that the remaining group axioms hold. Now come to Cayley tables. Cayley table is a binary operation on a finite set, can be represented by a table. It also called as operation table. It tells us whether a group is abelian or not. Let us see briefly operation table or Cayley table. A Cayley table describes the operation of a finite group. The Cayley table gives all the information needed to understand the structure of a group. Cayley table named in honor of the prolific English mathematician Arthur Cayley, who first introduced them in 1854. In first module, we have seen multiplication table for some examples. The same way we are going to construct Cayley table for any operation. Let us see the construction of operation table. To make a Cayley table for a given finite group, begin by listing the group elements along the top row and along the left column. Now all that remains is to fill the interior of the table. To fill in the element in the row for element x and the column for element y, figure out what x into y is by thinking about the operation for that particular group. Do this for every pair of elements. Notice that x into y and y into x may not always be the same. So, be careful about the rows and columns. Once you are done constructing a Cayley table, how do you know that it forms a group or not? Check the following things. check it by one. Every entry must be an element of the group. The row corresponding to the identity element, usually the top row, must match the heading row. The column corresponding to the identity element, usually the left column, must match the heading column. Each row must contain each group element exactly once. Each column must contain each group element exactly once. For your clear understanding, let us see some examples. Let G consist of 2 into 2 4 matrices. Please look at the board. We claim that these form a group under matrix multiplication. The easiest way to justify this claim is to calculate the Cayley table of all possible products. Look at the board. The table checks closure because each entry is in the set G. We can also see that L is the identity element and that each of L, A, B and C is its own inverse. Thus, the table checks each of the group axioms apart from the associativity axiom. However, matrix multiplication is well known to the associative and so this axiom is automatically satisfied. Further, here A into B is equivalent to B into A into C is equivalent to C into A, B into C is equivalent to C into B, so that G is an abelian group. By use of Cayley table, we can easily find out the set is abelian group or not. For an abelian group, the group table is symmetrical about the leading diagonal. Another example is Z6 under addition modulo. Example, consider the set of integers modulo 6 under addition modulo. Then Cayley table is look like this. From the Cayley table, it is clear that integer 6 plus modulo of 6 satisfies closure, identity and inverse axioms. Also, the table is symmetrical. Therefore, Z6 plus modulo 6 is an abelian group. Once again, recall the example from first module. Consider the set all cube roots of unity G is equivalent to 1 omega and omega square under multiplication. Then the Cayley table will be like this. From the Cayley table, it is clear that G satisfies closure, identity and inverse axioms. Also, the table is symmetrical. Therefore, G is an abelian group. There are some results based on abelian group which we have to verify by ourselves. We shall see some examples. Let G be a group. If x square is equivalent to E, for all x belongs to G, then G is abelian. Solution. Let A, B belongs to G, then A into B belongs to G. So, by hypothesis, A square is equivalent to E and B square is equivalent to E and A into B the whole square will be equivalent to E. Now, A into B the whole square is equivalent to A into B into A into B. By applying A into B the whole square is equivalent to E and associate axiom, we have E is equivalent to A into B into A into B. Multiply by on the left and B on the right on both sides of the equality, we get A into E into B is equivalent to a square into b into a into b square. Again a into b is equivalent to e into b into a into e. Again a into b is equivalent to b into a. Hence G is abelian. Like previous result, now we are going to prove next two. Let G be a group. Suppose that AB square is equal to A square B square for any elements A, B in G. Prove that G is an abelian group. Solution. To prove that G is an abelian group, we need AB is equivalent to BA for any elements A, B in G. By the given relation, we have AB square is equivalent to A square into B square. AB into AB is equivalent to A square B square. AB into AB is equivalent to AABB. Multiplying by a to the power minus 1 into a to the power minus 1 on the left and b to the power minus 1 into b to the power minus 1 on the right, we obtain a to the power minus 1 into AB into AB. The whole is multiplied by b to the power minus 1. That is equivalent to a to the power minus 1 into AABB, which is again multiplied by b to the power minus 1. Then we will get a to the power minus 1 into a, that is multiplied by BA, again b the whole power minus 1, that is equivalent to a to the power minus 1 into a B into b to the power minus 1. Then we will get EBAE, that is equivalent to EABE. Then finally we will get BA is equivalent to AB. Hence we proved. What happens if we change the number 2 in AB square is equivalent to A square into B square into 3? That is our next problem. Let G be a group. Suppose that we have AB cube is equivalent to A cube into B cube for any elements A, B in G. Also, suppose that G has no elements of order 3, then G is an abelian group. Solution. Let A, B be arbitrary elements of the group G. We want to show that AB is equivalent to BA. By the given relation, AB cube is equivalent to A cube into B cube. We have A, B and AB is equivalent to A cube into B cube. Multiplying by a to the power minus 1 on the left and b to the power minus 1 on the right, we obtain BA is equivalent to A square into B square, or equivalently we have BA square is equivalent to A square into B square for any A, B belongs to G. Now we consider A to the power minus 1, b to the power minus 1 the whole square is equivalent to A to the power minus 1, b to the power minus 1 the whole square into AB the whole square, which is again equivalent to b to the power minus 2, A to the power minus 2, b square and A square, which is again equivalent to b to the power of minus 2 into BA to the power of minus 1 the whole square A square, which is again equivalent to b to the power of minus 2 BA to the power minus 1 BA to the power minus 1 into A square, which is finally equivalent to b to the power minus 1 A minus 1 BA. Hence, we have obtained AB a to the power minus 1, b to the power minus 1 the whole square, which is equivalent to b to the power minus 1 a to the power minus 1 ba for any a comma b belongs to G. Taking the square of 2, we obtain AB a to the power minus 1, b to the power minus 1 the whole power of 4, which is equivalent to b to the power minus 1 a to the power minus 1 into ba the whole square, which is again equivalent to b to the power minus 1 a to the power minus 1 ba. It follows that ab a to the power minus 1 b to the power minus 1 the whole cube, which is equivalent to E. Since the group G does not have an element of order 3, this yields that AB a to the power minus 1 into b to the power minus 1 is equivalent to E. Hence, AB is equivalent to BA for any elements A, B in G, and so the group G is abelian. Generalize the previous result for N, then we will get the next theorem. Let G be a group and let A and B be elements of the group. If G is abelian, then A into B the whole power n is equivalent to A power n into B to the power n for any integer n is greater than or equivalent to 2. Proof. We prove the theorem by induction on n. Let n is equivalent to 2, then A into B the whole square is equivalent to A into B into A into B, that is equivalent to A into B into A into B, that is again equivalent to A into B into A into B, that is again A into B into B, since G is abelian. Hence, we will get A into A into B into B, that is again equivalent to A square into B square. Assume that then A into B the whole power n is equivalent to A power n into B power n for any integer n is greater than or equivalent to 2. We must prove that A into B the whole power of n plus 1, which is equivalent to A to the power n plus 1 into B to the power n plus 1. A into B the whole power n plus 1 is equivalent to A into B the whole power n into A into B. Then again A into B the whole power n into B into A, since G is abelian. Then again A power n into B power n into B into A by inductive hypothesis. Then again A power n into A into B power n plus 1, and finally we get A power n plus 1 into B power n plus 1. Next one is theorem. Now assume that G is a finite group with an even number of elements. Prove that there must be an element A belongs to G which is not the identity but such that A square is equivalent to E. Proof. Let us break G into the some subsets. A is equivalent to element of A. B is equivalent to elements A for which A square is not equivalent to E, that is A to the power minus 1 is not equivalent to A. C is equivalent to elements A for which A square is equivalent to E. Here A contains just one element, B contains an even number of elements because every element is paired with its inverse which is a different element. Since G contains an even number of elements and so far with A and B we have an odd number, C must contain at least one element. Next, we move on to some properties of the order of an element. The order of an element G in a group G is the smallest positive integer k such that G to the power k is equivalent to E. Now we shall see the results. The identity element is the only element of order 1. The elements x and x square have the same order. When G is a finite group, every element must have finite order. However, the converse is false. There are infinite groups where each element has finite order. For example, consider the group of all roots of unity in complex number C under complex multiplication. A root of unity is any complex number that gives 3 when raised to some positive integer power n. A root of unity is any complex number that gives 1 when raised to some positive integer power n. Here the group is infinite and each element has finite order. If every non-identity element A in G is the same as its inverse, so that A square is equivalent to E, then order of A is 2 and consequently G is abelian. By theorem, we have already proved the converse of this statement is not true. For example, the additive cyclic group integer modulo of 6 of integer modulo 6 is abelian, but the number 2 has order 3. The next result shows that order of group is finite if G is finite. Theorem: if G is a finite group, every G belongs to G has finite order. Proof: consider the set of powers A is equivalent to G to the power A is proportional to A belongs to Z is a subset of G. Since the exponents run order all integers, A is since the exponents run over all integers, A is an infinite set. Since G is finite, there must be a repetition in A. Say G to the power A is equivalent to G to the power B for some A is less than B in Z. Then G to the power B minus A is equivalent to E. So G has finite order. Next one is theorem. Let G belongs to G and G have order n. Then G to the power k is equivalent to E if and only if n divides k. Proof: if n divides k, then k is equivalent to nm for some integer m. Therefore, G to the power k is equivalent to G to the power nm, which is again equivalent to G to the power n the whole power m, which is equivalent to E. Converse part: supposing that G to the power k is equivalent to E. By the division theorem, write k is equivalent to nq plus r with the integers q and r such that 0 is less than or equivalent to r, which is again less than n. Then E is equivalent to G to the power k, which is again equivalent to G to the power nq plus r, which is equivalent to G to the power n the whole power q into G to the power r, which is equivalent to G to the power r, since the order of G is in n. Since 0 is less than or equivalent to r, which is again less than n, the minimality of the order of G we have R must be 0. Thus, K is equivalent to NQ, so N divides K. Next one is a corollary to the previous result. It says that corollary let G is the element of G have order n. For two integers, G to the power K is equivalent to G to the power L if and only if K is congruent to L mod n. Proof. Write the condition G to the power K is equivalent to G to the power L as G to the power K minus L is equivalent to E. So, by the previous result, K minus L divides n, and so K is congruent to L mod n. Upcoming theorem states that if G is a finite abelian group of size n, that is order of a group is n, then G to the power n is equivalent to E for all G belongs to G. Proof. Write out the elements of G. Say G is equivalent to G1, G2 and so on up to Gn. Now consider the product of each with G proportional to Gg1, Gg2 and so on to Ggn. Since Ggi is equivalent to Ggj, if and only if Gi is equivalent to Gj, sending Gi to Ggj is a one-to-one function from G to itself. As G is finite, the function is onto as well. That means the set Gg1, Gg2 up to Ggn is just another listing of the elements of G except perhaps in a different order. Therefore, capital G is equivalent to G1, G2 and so on up to Gn, that is equivalent to Gg1, Gg2 and so on to Ggn. Since G is abelian, we can multiply the elements in both lists and equate. G1, G2 up to Gn is equivalent to Gg1, Gg2 up to Ggn, which is again equivalent to G to the power n into G1, G2 up to Gn. Now cancel every Gi from both sides, then we get G to the power n is equivalent to E. Thank you students. We have learned some topics, that is from the modern algebra, elementary properties of abelian groups. I hope you would have earned some knowledge about this topic. Thank you.